Hello everyone and welcome back to Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, when this isn't the room we should have entered if we just left the gymnasium. Here I was thinking, like, where do I want to go in the school? Maybe we should try and go to one of the secret room. You mean like the one in the closet behind the toilet and things like that, but nope. We just ended up here directly on the 5th floor by exiting the gymnasium. This doesn't make any sense. Huh? That's weird. This is the hallway I walked through to get to the gymnasium, but it's clearly different. Is this Monokuma's doing too? No, it's a glitch in the machine. Is he trying to confuse us again? I don't know how he's doing it, but he keeps doing it over and over again. He's so persistent. But I'm not gonna fall for his trap. There's no way this will make me back down. The game is broken. Hi Sonia. Are you fine?
Ah, this hallway. There's a strange feeling to it. As if an invisible wall has been erected to limit our movement.
I am concerned.
Is it just me?
Are you saying that, like, it's the old system, like how they had less movement or such then? Is that the thing, or are you talking about this thing that covered the walls? I guess it's over here because it goes crazy. Oh, maybe it doesn't. If we go over there. Can I go? I can go over there. But do I rather want to go to this slab? The morgue. Or what's the morgue here? I try to remember. I think the morgue was here, but it didn't look like this then. Or maybe it was just not that dark before. Oh, yeah, it ended. Biome. Oh right, bio. It wasn't really the morgue, it just functioned as the morgue. Maybe the garden then? Is that, or the archery range? Oh, we can go into the archery range. The dojo, I mean. Can we go into... No, we can't go into the garden. So I guess the dojo it is. What will we find here? Ooh. Is this a dojo? Yeah. It's full of strange things that makes me think there's no way we're inside a school. Perhaps it's a mistake to expect the inside of this building to make sense. Yeah. Can we look at the little princess there that looked like... What was his name? Hifumi's? The one he loved? Or maybe not. She's way too grown up for that. What is this? Is this a manga? The title is... Manga for Morons, A History of Hope's Peak Academy by Monokuma. Oh. Why is a manga with such a suspicious looking title lying out in the open like this?
Haha, let's start with history first, class.
Hey,
Reading manga is the third best way to learn about history. Now, what's the first, you ask? That depends on the person.
Actually, I think there is a number one way to learn about it that doesn't even depend on the person, and that's living it. Yeah. If you're living that, you can. So, just as I thought, Monokuma made this. That totally explains how suspicious it looks. I really want to just ignore it, but there's no way I can do that. Fine, I'll look at it. I'll look at anything that might be a clue to getting out of here. No matter what it is. I picked up the manga off the floor and started flipping through the pages. It's an introduction to Hope's Peak Academy's history, as narrated by the Courtesy character on the cover. The story begins with an introduction to Hope's Peak Academy. Hope's Peak Academy is a government-funded school of privilege where only the most talented high school students can hope to attend. Built to raise hope in the nation's future, many of its alumni are key to leaders of various industries. New students are chosen through a scouting process, but the ones who scout them are Hope's Peak Academy's teachers, who serve as both educators and researchers of talent. Hope's Peak Academy isn't just a school for talent, it is also a school for researching talent as well. However, for the past few years, Hope's Peak Academy has been suffering for a decline in funding. If this persists, the Academy believes they will not be able to make progress with their research of talent. So they decided to implement a new system, the Reserve Department. Unlike the main department, who scouts for students, the Reserve Department utilizes a general entrance exam. Normal, factually, was hired and placed in charge of looking after the Reserve Department. The expenses and exam fees for the Reserve Department are quite high compared to most high schools. Nevertheless, Hope's Peak Academy received an endless stream of applicants. Hope's Peak Academy was now available to talentless commoners, people who only cared about their bread, just like Hajime. With this, Hope's Peak Academy managed to amass sizable funds and began further research of talent. To create Hope's Peak Academy's earnest wish, a true genius who would become mankind's hope. But just when I thought everything was going well, an unprecedented incident occurred. The incident that triggered the tragedy, the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. That's right, it was the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Hope's Peak Academy was crippled by this incident and was forced to shut down without accomplishing anything. The end. Huh? The ending was so sudden, like a manga that suddenly cancelled in the middle of its run. Plus, there are phrases mentioned at the end of this manga. The tragedy and the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. These names are so melodramatic. There's no way this incident really happened, right? This manga only mentioned the names, so I don't really know the details, but... no, it's just be a waste of time to wonder about things that don't make sense. More importantly, I learned something because of this manga. The Reserve Department. The department was only built to collect money. I was one of those Reserve Corps students, right?
But hold on.
That's weird.
Oh, you here again?
The thing that's weird is you, of course.
Huh?
Why do you forget that you were a part of the Reserve Department? The Future Foundation only took away the school life memories, right? But you should have known even before you entered that you had no talent, right? So I think it's weird that you actually forgot something like that.
What do you want me to say?
By the way,
based on my assumption, the Future Foundation must have wanted to hide the fact that you were one of those Reserve Corps students.
I got it.
Or you willingly seal those memories yourself.
Huh?
You wanted to be confident in yourself, so you wanted to forget everything that embarrassed you. You know, when humans experience trauma, sometimes they erase their memories of what happened. Not me though. I just put it in stone more and more until they cannot be erased, and it just takes deeper and deeper wounds over and over and over until it's then just break whole, and then you go through it all. Yeah, it happens pretty often. Not that I know anything about that now. Huh.
Are you saying it's my fault I forgot? That's not it.
Come on.
When things get inconvenient, you always get angry and try to brush it off. Well, that's expected of a Reserve Corps student.
Damn it! What the heck? Oh. Why did I get a truth bullet? We already had the last class trial, didn't we? I guess we leave here now and we're gonna end up in another strange corridor. We're not gonna end up where we'll enter. Oh. Oh, or maybe we are. That's strange. Kazuki, where do you come from?
What's going on?
Wow, it's so it's kind of creepy. I can't go to a place I should be able to go to. It's like someone is being forced for no reason. Yeah, it's like the invisible wall or something.
Yeah, you mentioned. Holy shit, what happened with your hair there for a moment? And Sonia is gone. Oh, but this classroom is open now. I guess we can only enter one at a time. And there will be something special here. A violin. And another manga. Or book. I guess book. This is another manga. It's laying on top of the desk. This one is Manga for Morons, the Tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Huh. Wasn't the Tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy mentioned in that other manga too? It's why Hope's Peak Academy went bankrupt, right? And it was the trigger for the biggest, most tragic, most awful event in human history. If I read this manga, will I be able to learn a little more about the incident? I took the manga from the desk and started flipping through the pages to see what I could learn about the event known as the Tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. The story made heavy use of outdated, stylized, wrong, disciplined characters solving mysteries. What's written here is...
It was a dark Sunday morning. As the name suggests, the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy occurred at Hope's Peak Academy. The key player in that event was a student named Isuru Kamakura. Isuru was a genius known as a symbol of hope. Hope Peak Academy used all the reasons to develop him. Supposedly Isuru was a genius among genius and possessed variance talent. That whiskey is great. Wielding superior talent for the hopes of mankind, the Academy referred to Isumi as the ultimate hope. To protect such rare talent, the Academy completely concealed all evidence of Isuru's origins and identity. Because of that, most of the students at the Academy were completely unaware of Isuru's existence. But Isuru, who was known as a symbol of hope, was responsible for a horrible incident. 13 students of Hope's Peak Academy Student Council, among the Academy's best and brightest, were brutally murdered by Isuru. However, the incident did not end there. The Academy tried to protect Isuru's superior talent and conceal the incident as though it never happened. However, a certain student began working in secret to use that incident to their advantage. That student uncovered what the Academy did, and by making that knowledge public, it stroked the fires of reserved students who had long been dissatisfied with how they'd been treated. And the uprising began. And that heralded Hope's Peak Academy's destruction. This is the entirety of the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Eventually, that incident would lead to that horrifying, devastating incident. The incident that would be known as the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. Work cited, Danganronpa 0.
With a heavy sigh, I closed the manga. Am I supposed to believe this? There's no way 13 people were killed at Hope's Peak Academy. No, you're right, it's been many more than that since then. I mean, in the first game we had how many? We started with 15? Was this? No, 15, and we ended with 5, right? So 10 died there at least, right?
What irony! For a genius known as the ultimate hope to cause such a gruesome incident, a talent like that is too regal for society. It's like trying to buy use with a bar of gold. You should be lucky that you're incompetent.
Damn it, he always has to lead up something offensive. He seriously pisses me off. But Bakuya was also something their fluent prodigy, didn't he have a lot of talent, they said. But ultimate hope. Nagito mentioned that before too, but it looks like it means something completely different here. What Nagito said was the true meaning of hope, but for Izuru, hope simply means talent. More importantly, a genius who possesses various talents. I wish they'd given me one of those talents so I didn't have to be in the reserve department. That's right, the reserve department. Here it said that a reserve corps student in the reserve department began uprising. Then what about me?
I was the leader. I led a rebellion against the talents! Down with the talents! Let the talentless lead!
Was I a participant too?
No, that's not possible! No!
There's no way, I have no reason to do something like that. Tragedy of Hope's Peak has been added to Truth Bullets, yeah. Anyway, I learned about the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy, but the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history is a far worse incident, right? What kind of incident was it? And who's this other student that isn't Izuru? A certain student who secretly used the incident to their advantage. Who is that? I thought Yonko used the incident to her advantage. I don't know. This incident is really messed up, but all it's doing is raising more questions. The mysteries just keep piling up. Where are we now? What has changed? Same building? Oh, I can still go in there, maybe. Anything else? I mean, it's third time's the charm, right? Yep, it's open.
What the hell is this room? It's freaking cold in here!
Yeah, it's a freezer. Kind of. It's like I'm in a freezer or something. If I just stand still, I might end up freezing to death. I should hurry up and investigate so I can get out of here already. You mean like this one that has a very scary face on it? Ah! There's another manga. Just laying around here. This time the title is Manga for Moron. The biggest, most awful and most tragic event in human history. I know it. The next one would obviously be about this incident. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history, huh? We heard so much about it in the first game, but then it never revealed what exactly. Just what was that incident really all about? It might turn out to be something lame. I flipped through the pages of the manga and hoped that I was right. Oh, that face. And the background changes. A story about creepily drawn characters who get involved in such horrifying incidents. An incident known as the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. Is this drawn so grotesquely because the incident itself is that grotesque? Anyway, the beginning of the creepy manga starts with this sentence. The tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy was simply the trigger. At first, the uprising by the reserve corps student that triggered the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy was initially hoped to be resolved quickly, but the situation continued to escalate to dangerous extremes. The movement started spreading all over the internet and fostered a thriving online community. The community was not limited to students, and people of various races and nations began joining in. But the movement was not confined to the internet and began spreading and eroding the real world. When the movement started, it was indistinguishable from any other demonstration inspired by social unrest. But as it spread across the world, certain abnormalities soon came to light. By then, it was too late. The end and the means had vanished, and wanton destruction became their only goal. The strong butcher the weak kill the weakest among them, and soon the weak formed factions to brutally murder the strong. As the violence and death continued to spread, the shock of their action began to disappear, as if the era was regressing to more uncivilized time, when senseless deaths were in the norm. The media was oversaturated with deaths, to the point where people would watch them while enjoying a meal. By the time the world realized what it had become, it was too late to stop what had happened. A feeling of immense despair began spreading and eventually engulfed the world. Act of terrorism and coup d'etats began occurring around the world. A war waged in the name of despair. A war fought not for principles, religion, or personal gain. Just war, pure war, for the sake of war. And because of that, there was no way to resolve it. How could a movement started by high school students progress to such a hopeless scenario? The only explanation is the existence of a certain organization devoted to a certain student who influenced Hope's Peak Academy, a group called Ultimate Despair. Instead of using Hope's Peak Academy's talents for the sake of mankind's hope, they used them for the sake of mankind's despair. Key members of society use their influence to brainwash the masses in order to spread despair. Tech-savvy computer programmers wrote software to spread despair. The powerful and influential created new values and morals to spread despair. And with this, they created the tragedy. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. As long as ultimate despair exists, the despair engulfing the world will never end. The tragedy will never end. My heart was racing in my chest, but my body felt ice cold. And it wasn't because I was racing in this room. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. This is definitely all made up. If this is really true, then what's happening in the outside world? My family, my friends, the convenience store I frequent, the nearby bookstore, my favorite restaurant. What's happening to them?
No way!
Hey, are you seriously yelling at the manga? How crazy are you? I mean, people yell all the time at sport on TV, but they don't consider crazy but yelling at a manga, or you brought in a big comment, a mean comment or something there in the YouTube section. That's crazy and mean and everything, but just screaming at the athletes on TV as such that can't hear you, that's not crazy or mean or anything, that's normal.
Who would enjoy reading something like this?
Oh my, you don't like manga? A high school student who doesn't like manga is like an office lady who doesn't like to eat candy.
Isn't that common? Enough! What is this messed up manga?
I thought you obviously know about such a horrible event that destroyed the world, but for you not to remember that, such despair. That's the future for Ace of Hope. Though, thanks to them, stealing your school memories, huh? The incident that happened during that period has been completely removed from your brain.
The incident really happened and I actually forgot about it? There's no way that's possible! That's impossible!
What are you saying?
How many times do I have to tell you? All the clues here are real. Please understand, I'm rooting for you. If you don't learn about the full extent of the outside world, you guys will suffer for it. I just want to help you guys so you can live well-adjusted lives in the outside world.
I see, so that's how it is. That's what he meant by what he said at the beginning.
Well, as the headmaster, I'm conflicted, you know. On one hand, I'm really happy that you're finally going to graduate. But on the other hand, I'm worried about whether you guys will be okay in the outside world. That's why I'm thinking about telling you what the outside world is like before you make a decision. Whether you want to leave Jabberwock Island or stay here.
He's trying to make us feel despair toward the outside world, so we'll want to stay on the island. But there's no way I'm going to do what he wants. Despair like that simply can't exist. The outside world should be filled with hope. Just like now. Perhaps... No, that's definitely it. The tragedy has been added. Whether or not this incident really happened, what in the world is this ultimate despair group? Maybe a world ender? Who knows? If they devoted it to a certain student who guided Hope's Peak Academy to its destruction, are they connected to both the tragedy and the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy? Plus, that organization isn't just one person, but a group of people. But if they're known as Ultimate Despair, they are high school students, right? Who knows? We don't know exactly how long time they've been. I mean, it's been more than a year since the incident, right? And if they were third year student, then technically they aren't high school students any longer. They're college student now. Well, if they were actually able to do it, then I guess that's why they were called Ultimates. Then, are the killings we're involved in connected to them as well? It's no use, I'm going to freeze to that. I'm at my limit, I need to get out of here. Shivering, I ran out of the freezing room.